Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again I'm coming to you with another range report. And today's range report is on an awesome 22 long rifle target pistol from Browning. This is the Browning Buckmark Contour in stainless steel. Yeah, I believe this is a competition to the Ruger Mark series of pistols. It looks very similar as well to some of the Smith & Wesson 22 target pistols. It's supposed to be exceptionally accurate. We get a lot of options on this. We get this big old top rail, a great trigger, a very comfortable grip. This is not a defensive pistol, as I mentioned, definitely designed for target shooting. So I'm really excited to get this thing to the range and see how good of a shot it actually makes me look. Because sometimes guns make me look way better than what I actually am. And I have high hopes for this. I have heard outstanding reviews and people have ranted and raved about this model. But before we get into the things that I like and don't like and get this awesome gun to the range, I always want to thank the people that make these videos possible. First and foremost is the owner of this pistol who lent it to the channel. His name is Richard. He's a local fan and subscriber. Once again, Richard, thank you so much. I always want to thank my Patreon supporters because through their monthly donations and support, they help keep the lights on around here. You guys know I couldn't do it without them, so thank you so much, Patreons. And if you want to join my Patreon and see all these videos early, you can join for as little as $1 a month. There's a link in the description below. And as always, I want to thank my primary sponsor who always provides the ammunition for these range reports, my good friend Mark from Brownworks. And in every one of these videos, I always want to give Mark a huge shout out. I'm telling you, Mark has done so much for my channel, but he's also done so much for my viewers because he has made some of the most outstanding grips in the world. I know that I'm going to be rolling in some footage here of some of his best work. He is an artist, he's a craftsman, and every set of grips that he makes is one of a kind with custom logos, custom engravings, made out of exotic woods. Every grip is made to order specifically for the person that ordered them. This is not some type of grip factory where he just turns out all of the same stuff. Every grip is unique, and the customers have a huge hand in the type of grips that he makes and designs for them. He'll ask them lots of questions. He will make something very special for your heirloom 1911, Beretta 92, CZ 75, or Browning High Power, just to name a few. He can also make grips for a wide variety of other guns and things that you don't even see on his website. Just make sure to contact him. As you can see, his work is incredible. It's absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to put a link in the comment section below as well as a coupon code for 10% off your first order. I'm going to ask that you guys go over there, check out and see what he has to offer. Please contact Mark if you don't find what you're looking for. And when you contact him, please tell him the Texas Gun Vault sent you. All right, so let's talk about what this pistol is. Once again, this is the Browning Buckmark Contour in stainless steel. This model was introduced in 1985 and replaced the Challenger and International pistols in the Browning lineup. And I believe it gets its name because it uses the same action as the Buckmark series of rifles from Browning. It's designed for target shooting. All right, so let's talk about the things that I like and don't like about this gun. I've already mentioned one of them, and that it is made of stainless steel. I love stainless steel guns. I wish I had more of them. But when it comes to shooting dirty calibers like 22 long rifle, I love stainless steel. It is so easy to clean. Absolutely love that about this particular model. I also like the fact that when you hold this gun, it feels like a gun. Many other companies, when they build 22 long rifle pistols, they have to use cheap metal. They don't on this. This feels like a heavy, weighty gun. You know you're shooting a real pistol versus a toy. And I like that. It's a serious firearm, and you feel the quality when you hold it. I'm also a big fan of this big old top rail. You can mount tons of optics up here. Now for this review, Richard has mounted a Sightmark Reflex dot on it. He likes this, and Sightmark is actually a Texas-based company. And I think for the purposes of this review, it's going to be just right. Something else this pistol has that normally I don't like is finger grooves. On this grip, which by the way is exceptionally comfortable, these finger grooves really work well for me. I think they're spaced out a little bit different than you'll find on Glock pistols, because I don't like the ones on Glock pistols. These fit my fingers just right. But just because they fit my hand good doesn't mean they're going to fit yours great. I also really like the fact that this gun has a manual safety, and it's in a very logical place. I know that most 22 long rifles are going to have a safety. This one just works really well. When you put it on, it's on strong. I'm not worried about that thing coming off at all. So big fan of manual safeties on target guns, just like this. And the last thing I really like is the trigger pull. Let me tell you, this thing is exceptionally light and exceptionally tuned. It feels great at the range, and I think a lot of the accuracy of this gun comes from this well-tuned trigger. So let's take a moment. I'm gonna get out the Lyman trigger pull gauge. Let's test the weight of this and see how good it actually is. Alright, so here we go to test the trigger pull of this really awesome Browning Buckmark Contour. And in order to do this safely and not damage the gun, because some people don't know, you cannot safely dry fire many 22 long rifles and pistols, is we're going to be using these number 8 wall hangers. And this was an idea that Richard told me when I borrowed the gun from him. These things are pretty much the same size as a 22 long rifle projectile, so you can load them into a magazine. They don't always load great, but they do have a rim, and that will protect the firing pin from hitting the side of the chamber. So if I can get these to load, we should be able to get about 4 or 5 trigger pulls here and get a decent average. So we may have some issues. I may have to drop the magazine a couple times, but we will make this work. So I'll load the magazine, and I will pull out the Lyman trigger pull gauge. This was a gift to the channel from a local fan and subscriber, Craig, who's also lent guns before to us. And so thank you so much, Craig. Let's go ahead and go to the average. Let's clear that, and then let's try 5 pulls of this trigger and see if we can get a good reading. Let's see if this loads. Oh, that one did not. Sometimes this can be a little bit tricky here. So let me go ahead and drop this magazine. All right, maybe this one will load. Okay, that one did. And here we go. The first pull. 1 pound, 11.5 ounces. And that next one obviously will not load. So let's drop the magazine again. See if I can fit it in there. Nope, that one won't. Maybe the next one will. I told you this is going to be kind of a delicate procedure. All right, that one loaded. The next pull. £1 pound, 12.5 ounces. And once again, we have a little problem with the magazine. Sometimes this works really well, sometimes it doesn't. It might be the angle that I'm holding the firearm at as well. All right, let's try the next one here. That one did not load. That one did. All right, so the next pull. 1 pound, 9.6 ounces. That one loaded. £1 pound, 14.5 ounces. And let's see if we can get one more to give us a good average. £1 pound, 13.7 ounces, which gives us an overall average of 1 pound, 12.3 ounces. So as you can see, this is a very light and tuned trigger. It's absolutely fantastic for target shooting. All right, so let's get back to the rest of the range report now that we know how awesome this trigger is. And as you can see, this is a really light, well-tuned trigger. It feels great. You can definitely always predict where the wall is and where it's going to break. It doesn't have any creep. It's a very, very nice trigger. Definitely way too light for a duty gun, but for a target gun like this, it is perfect in my opinion. It's really not too light. I know anything under 2 pounds sounds way too light, but in the context of this gun and how this trigger feels, it really does work well. So now let's talk about a couple things about this gun that I don't like. Let's talk about the big one first, and that's going to be the magazine angle. Now, 22 long rifle is a rimmed cartridge, and many times when it comes to these 22 long rifle target guns, you're going to see a very sloped magazine like this. In fact, the Rugers have a grip that pretty much mirror that, and I don't like that Mark series pistol because of that angle. Now, this grip is not the same angle. However, it has to be inserted towards the back, as you can see, and that angle doesn't always line up with what you would think the grip would be. And I actually find that when you're at the range and inserting the magazine, you have to be very aware of where that mag wants to be inserted. You want to kind of put it in more towards the center like a typical semi-automatic handgun, but you have to hold it in back here and have it at a different angle than what you would expect. As you can see, that kind of looks a little bit weird. It's just not logical, especially because if you've trained or used other semi-automatic firearms, the angle of the grip is not lining up with the angle of the magazine. The last thing that I don't like is more of a cosmetic thing and not really a deal breaker. I don't like the fact this trigger is gold. To me, that looks a little bit gaudy. It kind of sticks out. I think if you're going to have a stainless steel gun, give me a stainless steel trigger. That gold trigger just kind of sticks out there. Now, if the rest of the gun was in gold, well, it would look even gaudier, but that would make more sense having a gold trigger. It's just an aesthetic thing, and I wish it was silver. It would just match the gun a little bit better, and I know that is a very, very small gripe. All right, so now let's get to the range. As always, I'm going to set the target at 7 yards. Because the magazines aren't super high capacity, I'm going to shoot 2 magazines through this, just see how this gun works. If I discover it has any function issues, just make sure the red dot is zeroed, and just see if I discover anything about this gun that I like or don't like that I wasn't able to figure out here on the workbench. So let's go to the range. Well, for the most part, I think we're off to a great start. The accuracy of this pistol is amazing. The trigger is amazing. The weight of this gun makes shooting 22 long rifle feel like a pellet gun. You don't even notice any recoil whatsoever. And of course, 22 long rifle is almost absent of any recoil impulse at all. But in this gun, it's crazy, crazy light. Now let's talk about that one feeding issue. Now, this is one of the issues with 22 long rifles because it is a rimmed cartridge originally designed for rifles. It doesn't really want to feed from magazines all that well. And one of the reasons why many people say 22 long rifle is not a viable cartridge for self-defense, because you are typically going to get a lot of feeding issues, jamming issues. You can also get light primer strikes or cartridges that don't go off. It's just just goes with the territory of 22 long rifle, but sometimes it has to deal with the magazines. And I'll go ahead and spoil something. As this review goes on, I think we're going to have problems with one of these magazines, especially when it is topped off. It always seems like when it's to capacity, the first or the second round has a little bit of trouble loading, but as the spring goes up and you have less weight on that spring, it seems to feed a little bit better. But so far, this pistol is doing great, and as a target gun, it's outstanding. All right, so now let me double the distance of this target. I want to see if I can continue to shoot it this accurate. I'm really excited to see it because this gun is making me feel like a way better shot than I actually am. So here we go, 2 more magazines. Let's see what happens. And as you can see, I think we still have a feeding issue with one of these magazines, but the gun continues to be exceptionally accurate. Now that I'm having to hold this gun up for a little bit longer and definitely make sure my aim is on, I'm noticing this gun is really well balanced. You would think it would be very kind of front heavy because of this barrel, but this barrel length is absolutely perfect. I believe it's 5 or 5.5 inches, and the weight of the gun seems to be distributed equally. It feels really good in my hand. It's very balanced, and I do like that because sometimes when it comes to longer barreled pistols, they really are front heavy. This gun does not feel that. All right, so now let me bench rest this. I'm going to put the target out about as far as I can at this range. I know it's not 100 yards or 150 yards. A lot of people think I should go to a range where I can do that. However, this is the range that I have access. And so if I can shoot this gun well at this distance, I know you guys that train for this and do all the competition shooting could do even better. But I'm really excited to see if this amazing grouping continues. So here we go. Let me bench rest this and let me get the results. Yeah, and it looks like we're still having one of these magazines having an issue. I probably should have marked which one it was, so when I give this gun back to Richard, he can either work on it, replace it. But these magazines aren't too expensive and they are plentiful, so it could be just a magazine issue and not necessarily a gun issue. But that's what I think it is. It's the magazine and not the firearm. But the gun continues to be really accurate. I am very impressed with this. Normally, I don't shoot guns this well, especially 22 long rifle. So this gun is making me feel like a way better shot than I actually am. Now, the next test I normally do when guns come through the Texas Gun Vault is the quick magazine change and the mag dump, because I just like to have fun with these guns, and many times they're tactical or self-defense firearms. However, this is a target gun, so I am going to forego those tests in this range report because I don't think anybody is really going to buy or use this gun for self-defense, and I really feel this is for a very thoughtful type of range trip where you're going to take your time and be as accurate as possible. So doing a mag dump on this might be a little bit ridiculous. So we're going to forego those tests. But there is one more thing I want to do before I give you guys my final thoughts, and that's give my wife Becky a chance to shoot this. She always enjoys to shoot every gun that comes through the Texas Gun Vault, and I always like to get her perspective because she's a very different shooter than I am. So let me load up another magazine, give her a chance to shoot it, and see if she discovers anything about this gun that she likes or don't like that I didn't discover myself. And so I believe her experiences mirror mine. We did have a couple of feeding issues, but she absolutely felt that this gun was exceptionally accurate and really comfortable. She really did like the grip. She liked the finger grooves, and the texture of this grip has some pebbling to it, but it is not overly aggressive like a sandpaper grip. Very ergonomic for both of us, and our hands are very different. So I'm very, very impressed with this. So what are my final thoughts on the Browning Arms Buckmark Contour? I have to say, out of all the 22 long rifle pistols I've ever shot, this one hands down probably is the most accurate. I think the only issue I had with it was the reliability and the feeding, but that's honestly probably more a magazine issue than the gun. I'm sure we could replace that magazine and use certain ammo and spend some time figuring out what this gun really likes. You could probably get it to about a 99.9% reliability rate. I know some people are going to ask what ammo I was using in this review. I was using a mix of Aguila and CCI Mini Mag, so both brands are kind of on the opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to quality, but they both seem to run fine and be really accurate. So overall, I'm exceptionally impressed with this gun and really the trigger. I just wish it wasn't gold. So on my star system, how would I rate the Browning Buckmark Contour? This thing exceeded my expectations. I didn't think I would like it as much as I did. And on my star system, I would give it 4.5 stars out of 5. Yeah, very close to a perfect review. But remember, I always review these guns based on what my experience was. And I did have some issues with the reliability of the magazine. And so maybe that is an issue across the board with these. I don't know for certain. Now, also, I might be a little bit biased because I do like more tactical handguns, things with threaded barrels, but that doesn't detract away from this gun. I'm not really a target shooter. I'm more of a collector, but I still really, really enjoyed this gun. And I would recommend this gun to anybody looking for a Target 22 pistol. It really impressed me. And I think 4.5 stars is a great score for this gun. It is awesome. Very enjoyable to shoot. almost no recoil. It is well built. I think it's a very attractive firearm. And I think many of you, if you've never shot one, would absolutely enjoy shooting. So 4.5 stars on the Browning Buckmark Contour. So let me know in the comments section below if you guys own any Browning Buckmarks, what models you have, and do you like them? And do my experiences mirror yours? Have you ever had any issues? And let me know about the magazines. Is this a common problem, or is this something that is pretty rare and probably could just be fixed by buying a new magazine? But it wasn't that bad. It was a very rare malfunction, mainly when the magazine was just topped off. But man, awesome gun, very accurate, and a lot of fun. So thank you again, Richard, for lending this awesome gun to the channel. So let me know what you think in the comments section below. And as always, thanks for watching.